Welcome back. Every day the needs are going up and the temperature is going down. Let's get more on the situation on the ground in eastern Turkey and the scene of that deadly quake. David Eby is Director of Field Operations for ShelterBoxUSA, an organization that's delivering tents and other equipment to survivors, joining us from Vaughan. Thanks so much for talking with us. Let me ask you, first of all, what are you finding around you? How bad has the devastation been? How great is the need for help like the kind you can bring?
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. The situation here in central Van is bad. Some buildings have been affected. I think they're saying about 5%, but it's the surrounding areas just outside of Van and Edris area that have been heavily affected. In some areas, as much as 90% of the buildings down or badly affected.
So let me ask you about your group and what ShelterBox does to help, because it's a remarkable concept, literally built around individual boxes. Tell us about the boxes and what's in them.
Yeah, the boxes are designed kind of as family units to give a family that's been displaced by a disaster such as the earthquake here the essentials that they need to get back on their feet and have a bit of warmth in this case and dignity during these critical days and weeks. It comes in a large green box, much like you would find at one of your local hardware stores, but it contains a high quality relief tent, and in this case winterized for the particular weather that we're experiencing here. Cook sets, blankets, ground mats, water purification, water containers, and even kits for kids as they've lost everything.
Now, you mentioned the tents and the winterization. It is cold in Turkey now, and it's going to get colder. How long can people live in one of the tents that you're bringing, whether in Turkey or I know there are shelter boxes around the world? I mean, how long before people simply have to move out of them?
Well, we've seen people living in our tents beyond a year. You know, obviously they're designed for those critical weeks and months to get them out of the elements, give them a warm, dry place. Hopefully, as reconstruction is beginning and semi-permanent shelters are being constructed. But they can live them many months if they need to.
Now, one of the problems you have to confront, I'm sure, in every place that you go, in shelter boxes around the world, is a problem aid agencies inevitably face in disaster zones, and that's getting the aid to the people who need it. Let me ask you about the situation in Turkey for everyone, but for you as well. How long is it going to take to get shelter, to get medication, to get blankets, to get all those basics to the people in the remote areas around Vaughan that have been so badly hit by this quake?
Yeah, well, hopefully we're beginning to mobilize even now the logistics to get our stuff in to Ankara, and then we've arranged logistics. Turkish Red Crescent has been fantastic in assisting us with logistics in moving that stuff on into the area. So we're very hopeful that within the next 48 hours or so we'll get these families in these tents and get them the equipment that they need in these initial days.
Well, I want to ask you once again about the approach you've taken, because so many people when there's a disaster like this think, they might want to send canned goods, or they might want to send used clothing, or they want to send shoes or hygiene products, and aid agencies get bombarded with packages they can't really use. How hard, how easy, how well suited is ShelterBox to a situation like the one you're in right now?
Well, ShelterBox, that's specifically what we do. We've now responded to over 150 disasters in 75 some odd countries, and we've seen those critical elements, obviously beginning with the shelter, because if you don't have adequate shelter, the time that you can you survive without those other things is greatly reduced. And so we're focused on the critical elements, the water filtration, the ability to prepare their food, and most importantly, that shelter in the relief tent. And so we feel that these are the things that are critical to get them back on their feet initially.
David Eby, it's called ShelterBox. It's a remarkable concept in use around the world. Good luck with your efforts in Turkey. In one of the world's economic hubs, it's anything but business as usual. Right now, it's just past midnight in Bangkok, Thailand.